Hello, this is the Endocrine System, Chapter 9 of Marieb and Keller. Again, disclaimer, this is intended only for the students of the BS Pharmacy program of San Pedro College for the academic year 2025 to 2026. Please do not reproduce or sell this to another person because this is my material. The learning objectives for this discussion includes the following: to explain the role of the endocrine system in maintaining homeostasis, to differentiate types of hormones and their mechanisms of action, to describe how hormone release is regulated, to identify major endocrine glands and their hormones, to explain the functions of key endocrine organs, to relate endocrine function to growth, metabolism, stress response, and calcium balance, to discuss some dysfunctions of the endocrine system. So the endocrine system serves as the second controlling system of the body in contrast to the nervous system, which is the fast control system. That is because the endocrine system takes usually takes longer time to respond as compared to the nervous system. That is because the endocrine system makes use of chemical messengers called hormones that are released into the bloodstream. Compared to the nervous system, you have the impulses being delivered neuron to neuron through the synapses. The hormones that are produced by the endocrine system control several major processes, including reproduction, growth and development, mobilization of body defenses, maintenance of much of homeostasis, and regulation of metabolism. The hormones that are produced are of the endocrine system are made by specialized cells which deliver these hormones into the extracellular fluid, then to the blood, where it will be delivered to the target site. The target site usually involves cells that respond to the hormone. The field of study that is concerned with the study of hormones and the endocrine organs is endocrinology. As for the hormones, they can be classified chemically as to whether they are amino acid based, steroids, or prostaglandins. When we say amino acid based, so they are uh, this can include proteins, peptides, or amines. The steroids are made from cholesterol, whereas the prostaglandins are made from highly active lipids that act as local hormones. So the of the three is the prostaglandin that is more local. However, it can the effects can be widespread in more sev- more severe responses. As for the two others, yung amino acid base at saka steroids, si amino acid base is made up of the macromolecule protein. Steroids is part of the macromolecule called lipids. The hormones affect only certain tissues or organs, which we call the target cells or the target organs. So they have very specific receptors to which they bind to in order to produce their intended effect. Then, if after binding to the receptor, this will alter changes inside the cell. After binding to the receptor, these are the changes that may be noticed to the target cell. Change plasma membrane permeability or membrane potential by opening or closing ion channels. Number two, activate or inactivate enzymes. Number three, stimulate or inhibit cell division. Number four, promote or inhibit secretion of a product. Number five, turn on or turn off transcription of certain genes. So they act by two mechanisms sa cell, either by direct gene activation or by second messenger system, which will be shown in the following figures. In During the direct gene activation, these are the steps that occur. So on the first step, since the steroid hormone is lipid based, they are able to pass through the plasma membrane easily. Kasi ang plasma membrane, di ba, as you know, is made up of phospholipids. So they are lipophilic, in which the steroid hormone is also lipophilic. So the steroid hormone can easily diffuse through the plasma membrane to get inside the cytoplasm, then through the nuclear pores to enter the nucleus. Then inside the nucleus, they will bind to proteins inside the nucleus. So you have receptors inside the nucleus to form a complex or your hormone receptor complex which can interact with the DNA. Then this interaction of the hormone receptor complex with the DNA will produce your mRNA to be translated to form a new protein, which can be released to the cytoplasm. As for the second messenger system, this usually involves the amino acid based hormones, in which because of the structure of the nature of the amino acid based hormone, this cannot enter through the plasma membrane or diffuse easily through the plasma membrane. What it does instead is to bind to receptors on the surface of the cell. So compared sa steroid-based na or sa steroids na hormones which can easily diffuse a cell, they can enter sa nucleus. However, for the amino acid-based hormones, they only interact with receptors that are found on the surface of the plasma membrane. With the binding of the hormone to the receptor protein, which are found on the surface of the cell, this can i- this can stimulate another enzyme on the surface of the protein to convert ATP into the second messenger, which is your cyclic AMP. The cyclic AMP will then interact with another set of enzymes inside the cell. So that is the major difference between the amino acid base and the steroids. The amino acid base can only interact on the surface of the target cell to activate the second messenger, whereas the steroids are able to diffuse through the plasma membrane to get inside the nucleus and interact directly with to form a complex that interact directly to DNA. However, in general, all hormones are or all the activities of the hormones are being regulated through negative feedback. This means in order to increase the production of certain hormones, there must be um, low levels of input from the as the stimulus, or to decrease the production of a certain hormone, there must be an increased stimulation or increase in the stimulus. Same as other um, responses natin even sa nervous system. As for the stimuli, these stimuli can be categorized into hormonal humoral, or neural. For hormonal stimuli, the reason for the increase or the decrease in the production of a hormone is another hormone. So, for example, hormones of the hypothalamus stimulate the anterior pituitary to secrete its hormones. So, you have here the organ hypothalamus and the anterior pituitary gland. These are two separate glands producing different hormones. But in order for the anterior pituitary gland to increase its production of hormones, it must be stimulated by the hormones produced by the hypothalamus. Kaya ang tawag is hormonal stimulus kasi ang stimulus for the anterior pituitary gland to produce hormones is the hormone produced by the hypothalamus. For the humoral stimuli, the stimulus that increase or decrease the production of hormones is the changes of the ion concentrations or nutrient concentration in the bloodstream. So when we say humoral, this means usually blood or even bile. So an example of this is the parathyroid hormone or the calcitonin. These two hormones are are the hormones that control the calcium levels in the blood. So, in order to increase or decrease the production of these hormones, the stimulus is the changing levels of the calcium ions in the bloodstream. Another example is insulin. As you know, insulin controls the blood sugar levels. So, ang stimulus naman niya, whether for the body to know whether to increase or decrease the production of insulin, is the blood sugar levels. Meaning, for example, if you have high sugar levels in the blood, this will turn on the pancreas to produce more insulin. Again, so ang stimulus natin hormones na to is the changes in the level or changes in the blood levels. So you have here the parathyroid hormones, the parathyroid glands, and the thyroid gland. Neural stimuli. Apparently, the stimulus is from the nervous system. So an example is the adrenal glands or the adrenal medulla, which can be stimulated by the sympathetic nervous system in order to release more epinephrine or norepinephrine. So you have here the peripheral nervous system or particularly the autonomic or the sympathetic nervous system stimulating the adrenal gland. So let's discuss the major endocrine organs of our body. And this is just the list of those. This diagram for you to locate the major organs. In the at the base of the cerebrum, you can find the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland, and also you can also find the pineal gland in the brain. You have the thyroid gland on your anterior neck. Then posterior to your thyroid gland is your parathyroid glands, are your parathyroid glands. The thymus is located on the thorax, just superior to your heart. Your adrenal glands sit atop your kidneys. Your pancreas is positioned inferior to your stomach. Then you have the gonads, which can either be the ovaries or the testes. So some of the major endocrine glands are considered as purely endocrine because so you have the endocrine and the exocrine glands. Endocrine glands release hormones to the bloodstream, whereas your exocrine glands produce their secretions or release their secretions to the outside of the body. Or, for example, um, the purely endocrine glands are your anterior pituitary, thyroid, adrenals, and your parathyroids, meaning all the hormones that they produce are being released to the bloodstream. However, purely for your mixed endocrine and exocrine glands, um, the endocrine function or the endocrine part is able to produce hormones in the bloodstream, whereas their exocrine glands, particularly for example, your pancreas, produce digestive enzymes. So yung digestive enzymes, they are released to the small intestine, which are connected to the outside. Kaya siya sinabi na exocrine. Gonads also produce um, also have secretions being released to the outside of the body. So let's start with the specific major endocrine glands with the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is a pea-sized gland that hangs by the stalk from the hypothalamus in the brain. They are protected by the sella turcica of the sphenoid bone, and it has two functional lobes, the anterior and the posterior pituitary. So the anterior pituitary is a glandular tissue. The posterior pituitary is more of a nervous tissue. The pituitary gland is also called the master endocrine gland because of the several hormones that they produce that produces a wide range of functions. The hypothalamus produces the releasing hormones and inhibiting hormones, especially of the to the pituitary gland. I have mentioned as an example kanina sa hormonal stimulus. The hormones in the hypothalamus um, influence the production of the hormones in the pituitary gland. So as for the hypothalamus, this produces aside from the releasing hormones of the hypothalamus, also produce oxytocin and the antidiuretic hormone. These are then carried to the posterior pituitary via the neurosecretory cells for storage. So again, the hypothalamus produces various releasing hormones plus oxytocin and your antidiuretic hormone. Yung oxytocin at saka antidiuretic hormone are then stored here in the posterior pituitary. So, as for the posterior pituitary, again, you have the oxytocin and ADH being stored here. The oxytocin is a hormone that simulates the contraction of the uterus during labor. It, that also promote sexual relations, and it is also involved in breastfeeding. So in breastfeeding, the effect of oxytocin is milk ejection. Siya yung nagpapalabas ng gatas sa breast. Oxytocin is also uh, a common drug in obstetrics or in the field of medicine concerned with mothers or pregnant pala. The oxytocin is given to pregnants to induce labor. So yung pumutok na yung bag of water ng pregnant, tapos hindi pa nagko-contract yung uterus, in which kailangan na mag-contract yung uterus, we can give oxytocin to facilitate the contraction of uterus para malabas na si baby. Antidiuretic hormone or ADH, anti-diuretic. Diuretic or diuresis, pampaihi. Anti, pampa prevent ng ihi. So, antidiuretic hormone. The effect of this hormone is to decrease the urine production. The mechanism of action is to encourage water absorption in the kidney tubule. This the effect of this, because of the reabsorption of water, is to increase the blood volume and subsequently the preload, then the cardiac output, then the blood pressure. Okay. In large amounts, the ADH also produces vasoconstriction of the arterioles, resulting to an increase in blood pressure. Kaya ang tawag sa kanya, ang other name ni antidiuretic hormone is vasopressin. Kasi vaso or blood vessel, pressin, constriction. This hormone results to vasoconstriction. An inhibitor of the antidiuretic hormone is alcohol. So si alcohol, if it inhibits the ADH secretion, kasi si antidiuretic hormone pampaprevent ng ihi. So if you inhibit the hormone that prevents diuresis, the effect of alcohol is cancel mo lang. The effect of the alcohol is diuresis. Kumbaga, pampaihi si alcohol. So for the anterior pituitary gland naman, these are the six hormones that it produces. You have two hormones that affect the non-endocrine targets, which are your growth hormone and prolactin. Then you also have the four tropic hormones, which are your FSH or follicle stimulating hormone, LH or your luteinizing hormone. You also have your thyrotropic hormone or your thyroid stimulating hormone. And then you also have the adrenocorticotropic hormone. So ito yung six hormones na pinoproduce ni anterior pituitary. Your growth hormone, its target organs include your bones and muscles. For your prolactin, it targets your mammary gland. Lactation. So, target niya is your mammary glands. Follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone, its target are your gonads, which are your testes or ovaries. Your thyrotropic hormone or your thyroid stimulating hormone targets your thyroid. Then your adrenocorticotropic hormone targets the adrenal cortex. In general, all anterior pituitary hormones are protein or amino acid based. They act through the second messenger system because they are amino acid based, and they are regulated by hormonal stimuli, particularly hormones produced by your hypothalamus. And they are regulated mostly by negative feedback. So let's start with your growth hormone or your GH. They are general metabolic hormone that target your skeletal muscles and long bones, and they also play a role in determining the final body size. They cause amino acids to build into proteins and cause fat to be broken down for a source of energy. They are especially important sa growing children, such that i- if you have too much growth hormone, this can cause gigantism. But if you have um, too few, or the if you have very low levels of growth hormone during the um, growing of a child, this results to dwarfism. Next hormone, the prolactin. This hormone stimulates and maintains milk production following childbirth. And however, in males, the function is unknown. So you contrast prolactin to oxytocin. Kasi these two hormones are involved or target your mammary glands. However, the difference between prolactin and oxytocin, si oxytocin yung magko-contract to expel or release the milk. Si prolactin, siya yung magpo-produce ng milk. Next two hormones, your FSH and LH, both regulate the hormonal activity of the gonads. For the FSH, they stimulate the follicle development in ovaries. For the testes, this stimulates the sperm development. LH naman triggers the ovulation of an egg in females, while in males, this stimulates the testosterone production. TH, or your thyrotropic hormone, or thyroid stimulating hormone, or TSH, more commonly TSH ang tawag. This influences the growth and activity of the thyroid gland. So siya lang yung mag-go signal sa thyroid gland to produce its hormones. Adrenocorticotropic hormone, same thing, pero ang target naman niya is the adrenal cortex. So that's for the anterior pituitary gland. Now for the pineal gland, our next major endocrine gland. The pineal gland again is located in the brain, hanging from the roof of the third ventricle of the brain. This gland produces the hormone melatonin, which is involved in the sleep-wake cycle. So si melatonin, siya din yung OTC drug na tinetake na pwede mabili sa pharmacies na tinetake natin para makatulog. This hormone also naturally sa body natin, it is or the production of this hormone is stimulated by bright light, particularly sa blue light. Um, the light from the sun is considered as white light because it contains all the colors of the visible light spectrum. Meaning, meaning ng white light, if you know your physics, it includes your um, RGB, red, green, and blue light. Kasi yung red, green, and blue yun yung primary colors of light. If you fuse them together, it becomes white. However, particularly of the three colors, it's the color blue, yung of the white light, ang naka-stimulate sa pineal gland to produce or to inhibit the production of melatonin. Hence, if gusto mong produce si pineal gland na melatonin, you must stop looking at white light or any type of light na merong blue. Okay? So, in our modern age, the screen that is emitted by our mobile devices or even laptops or monitors is usually white light that contains blue light. So in order for you to prevent from receiving blue light, you can have the option sa mobile devices nyo to switch on to warm light, which is red, orange. Kasi that kind of light does not have blue light. And since in blue light, yung makapa-inhibit sa pineal gland to produce melatonin, the warm light, which does not have blue light, will not will allow the pineal gland to produce melatonin. Kaya sa gabi, if gusto niyo makatulog sa gabi, you can switch on your warm light para mawala yung blue light. Next gland tayo, thyroid gland. The thyroid gland again is located on your anterior neck. They produce two hormones, the thyroid hormone and calcitonin. So this is what the thyroid gland looks like sa anterior neck. Okay. As for the thyroid hormone, the thyroid hormone is considered to be a major metabolic hormone because this controls the rate of oxidation of glucose to supply body heat and chemical energy. And it is also needed for tissue growth and development. For um, for people with hyperthyroidism, meaning they produce too much thyroid hormone, their metabolism is considered to be so fast because they break down the energy so fast. Kaya wala na sa store na fat sa katawan. Kaya usually yung mga um, those who have high metabolism are thin or lean compared to those that produce so little thyroid hormone or those that have hypothyroidism. For hypothyroidism, the metabolism is considered slow such that hindi na-utilize lahat ng energy, so they will be stored sa body as fats or fat storage. So yung people with hypothyroidism, they are um, they are heavier. For the thyroid hormone, this you have two types, your thyroxine or T4 and your triiodothyronine. The thyroxine is secreted by your thyroid follicles, whereas the T4 is a product of conversion from the T4 at the target tissues. So, if you notice for your thyroid panel, you can request for blood tests detecting the presence of T4, T3, and TSH sa blood because these are the three hormones that gives you an idea on the activity of your thyroid and also the hypothalamus uh, that influences the thyroid gland. This is what your thyroid looks like microscopically. You have the follicle cells and the colloid field follicles. And you also have the parafollicular cells. Your follicle cells produce your um, thyroxine or your T4. Your parafollicular cells naman produce your calcitonin, the other hormone produced by your thyroid gland. The calcitonin is involved in the regulation of calcium levels in the blood. In the blood. This has an opposite effect with your parathyroid hormone, which will be mentioned later. The effect of your calcitonin is that it decreases the blood calcium levels by causing calcium deposition on the bone. So, if you remember sa skeletal system, you have two cells that are involved in bone remodeling. You have the osteoclasts and your osteoblasts. So, calcitonin influences the activity um, of these two cells of the bone. So again, you have here the parafollicular cells that produce calcitonin. Now let's move on to the parathyroid glands. The parathyroid glands these are four masses located posterior to the thyroid gland. And these thyroid glands produce your parathyroid hormone or PTH. Again, the parathyroid hormone has an opposite effect to your calcitonin, in which the parathyroid hormone stimulates or increases the uh, levels of calcium in the blood. So, um, again, the parathyroid hormone influences the activity of the two cells, the osteoblast and your osteoclast. To recall, your osteoclasts, kumbaga clasts, sila siya ng bone. So, they res, increase of activity of your osteoclasts lead to calcium reabsorption, wherein calcium is sent back to the bloodstream. But if you increase the activity of your osteoblasts, you are inducing bone deposition, wherein you move the calcium level back to the bone or stored to the bone. Si parathyroid hormone, ang gusto ni parathyroid hormone is more calcium sa blood. So, it increases the calcium reabsorption. So, in order to do that, what the parathyroid hormone does is it increases the activity of your osteoclasts and it inhibits the activity of your osteoblasts. As for the calcitonin naman, ang gusto ni calcitonin is bone deposition. So, it will stimulate the activity of your osteoblasts and inhibit the activity of your osteoclasts. So, aside from the osteoblasts and osteoclasts, the parathyroid hormone also has an influence sa kidneys and sa intestine, in which it also increases the absorption of calcium in the intestines and increase the reabsorption of calcium in the kidneys. Remember what part of the renal tubule or what segment of the renal tubule is involved in calcium reabsorption. Kindly review lang. So, yung sinasabi ko na bone deposition and calcium reabsorption in Indonesia. These are dictated by your calcitonin and PTH. Next is the thymus, which is located in the upper thorax, posterior to the sternum, and superior to the heart. It is largest in the infants and children, but reduces in size during adulthood. The hormone that it produces is thymosin, which is responsible in the maturation of the white blood cell, particularly of the T lymphocyte. Then the adrenal glands, you have a pair of adrenal glands that sit atop your two kidneys. It has two major regions, the adrenal cortex and the adrenal medulla. So same with your cerebral cortex and your renal cortex. The adrenal cortex is the outer region, and it has three layers which are able to produce different kind or different group of hormones. You have the mineralocorticoids, glucocorticoids, and the sex hormones. The adrenal medulla, on the other hand, is the inner region. Now, this diagram shows the or summarizes the three layers of the adrenal cortex and their respective hormones that they produce. The zona glomerulosa, which is the outermost or the most superficial layer of the adrenal cortex, produces a group of hormones called the mineralocorticoids, an example of which is your aldosterone. Remember the role of aldosterone in the urinary system. Next is zona fasciculata, which is able to produce the glucocorticoids. For example, the most important is cortisol. The zona reticularis produces your androgens. The adrenal medulla produces your stress hormones or your epinephrine and norepinephrine. So in the zona glomerulosa, you produce the mineralocorticoids, mainly aldosterone, which is able to transport the salts, particularly sodium and potassium. The sodium is being reabsorbed in exchange for potassium, so that when sodium is reabsorbed, water follows to be reabsorbed. So the effect of aldosterone is sodium and water reabsorption. So you have different stimuli that results to the production or secretion of more aldosterone. And this includes humoral and hormonal factors. Humoral factors include the change in sodium or potassium blood levels. If there is either uh, too little sodium blood levels or too high potassium blood levels or hyponatremia or hyperkalemia, this will induce the production of more aldosterone sa adrenal cortex. Another factor naman is hormonal stimulation, particularly by the hormone adrenocorticotropic hormone or ACTH, which is released by the anterior pituitary gland. Another factor that promotes the release of aldosterone is the renin and angiotensin 2, which is released upon the decrease in blood pressure or blood flow sa kidneys. The renin and angiotensin 2 are part of the RAAS. On the other hand, the factors that inhibit the production of aldosterone includes your atrial natriuretic peptide or ANP, which is a hormone produced by the heart. So the stimulus for this is the decrease or increase rather in the blood pressure. So, kung mataas masyado ang blood pressure sa heart, this will this will result to the release of ANP by the heart, and kasi ang ANP naman inhibits aldosterone, which is a blood pressure increasing hormone. With the inhibition of aldosterone, opposite ang effect. This will bring down the blood pressure. So this diagram summarizes what I have just discussed. You have here the humoral factors, the hormonal factors, and the RAAS that all stimulate the production of aldosterone. And you also have the opposite effect produced by ANP naman. Next, on the next layer, the zona fasciculata that produces the glucocorticoids, particularly or most especially the cortisol. The cortisol promotes normal cell metabolism. It helps resist long-term stressor by increasing blood glucose levels, and it has also anti-inflammatory properties. It is released in response to increased blood levels of ACTH or adrenocorticotropic hormone. Next, the sex hormones naman are produced in the inner layer of the adrenal cortex, which is the zona reticularis, and it is and most of the hormones produced are androgens or male sex hormones. However, some are estrogens or female sex hormones. The adrenal medulla naman is the innermost region of the adrenal gland that produces the epinephrine or norepinephrine. The other names of these two are adrenaline and noradrenaline, respectively. These hormones prepare for the fight-flight response of the body. So, um, the effect of this is the stimulation of the sympathetic nervous system. So, comparing the two naman, for the cortisol and the epinephrine and norepinephrine. The cort the norepinephrine and epinephrine is more involved in the short-term response. With the product production of the epinephrine and norepinephrine, their effect their effects include the effects of the sympathetic nervous system, activation of the sympathetic nervous system. So you have increased heart rate, increased blood pressure, um, lipolysis, increase in blood glucose or blood sugar levels, dilation of bronchioles, increase in metabolic rate. So all these um, effects of the sympathetic nervous system. On the other hand, if you have long-term stress, for example, anxiety that lasts for the whole day or for how many days, in long-term stress. The hormone more involved is the adrenocorticotropic hormone, part- which subsequently stimulates the production of more mineralocorticoids and glucocorticoids. Okay, so the result of this is you have retention of sodium and water by the kidneys because of the aldosterone and increase in blood volume and blood pressure subsequently. For the glucocorticoids naman, the effects include protein and fat conversion to glucose. So you have constant high glucose levels in the blood, um, which can be a risk factor of um, sugar resistance, hence resulting to diabetes mellitus. The next organ is the pancreas, which is located posterior to the sternum and inferior to the stomach. The pancreas has both endocrine and exocrine functions. The endocrine function, because of the digestive enzymes that it produces, whereas the endocrine function is because of the insulin and glucagon that it produces. Insulin and glucagon are both hormones produced by beta cells and alpha cells, respectively. These two hormones have opposing effects that changes the blood sugar levels. Insulin decreases the blood sugar levels, whereas glucagon increases the blood sugar levels. These are the types of cells that are present in the pancreas or the pancreatic islet. The alpha cells again produces glucagon and also the proenzyme proglucagon. The beta cells produces insulin and also the C-peptide and the proinsulin and amylin. Delta cells produces the hormone somatostatin. G cell produces the hormone gastrin, and the F cell produces the hormone pancreatic polypeptide. So this is the location of the pancreas, just inferior of the stomach, and this is a microscopic view of the pancreas. In here, you have the pancreatic islets. In the pancreatic islets, you have the alpha and the beta cells, as shown. Again, these are the two hormones produced by the pancreas. The insulin uh, is, or the production of insulin is stimulated by the increase in blood sugar levels. So the effect of insulin is to bring that down. Whereas the glucagon, opposite naman, the stimulus is a decrease in blood sugar levels, and the effect of glucagon is to increase the blood sugar levels. So, for example, when you are in a fasting state, especially after dinner, when you go to sleep, so for how many hours you are not taking any food. By this, by the early morning, your blood sugar levels will start to decrease kasi wala ka nang gina-intake na food. Hence, this will stimulate the production of glucagon. After eating naman, the blood sugar levels will go up again, which will stimulate the production of insulin. Next, the gonads. The gonads are also called your sex glands because they produce sex hormones. You have the ovaries and the testes. Ovaries for the females, located in the pelvic cavity, producing the egg cell. The hormones that it produces are the estrogens and progesterone. Testes, on the other hand, the gonads of males are remain suspended outside the pelvic cavity, and they produce the sperm cell as well as under uh, the hormone androgens, particularly or especially testosterone. So for the sex hormones, you have the estrogen, which is responsible in the development of the secondary female characteristics. The secondary female characteristics are the physical changes in the body of females, such as the widening of the hips, the development of the breasts, yun yung mga secondary female characteristics. It is also responsible for the maturation of the female reproductive organs. With the progesterone, estrogen also promotes the development of the breasts and also in the regulation of the menstrual cycle. Progesterone, the other sex hormone produced by the ovaries, act, also is involved in the menstrual cycle and also for the preparation of breast for lactation. Progesterone comes from the root word of progesterone, pro, meaning it encourages. Gester is gestation. Gestation means pregnancy. So this hormone is encourages the pregnancy. During the pregnancy, the blood level of this hormone is very high. As for the testes, again, the hormones produced by the testes are your androgens. Testosterone is the most important of the androgens. Testosterone is responsible for the adult male secondary sex characteristics. So, the secondary male sex characteristics include the widening of the shoulders, the development of the Adam's apple, um, the, the the increase in size of the skeletal muscles, etc. Aside from that, the testosterone is also required for sperm cell production. So to summarize this chapter, this table, along with the table in Marieb, summarizes all the hormones produced by each organ or by each major endocrine gland and their major functions and their chemical structure, whether they are peptide or steroid. For the hypothalamus, again, the hormones are your um, the releasing hormones. So this includes the thyrotropin releasing hormone, corticotropin releasing hormone, growth hormone inhibitory hormone or somatostatin, gonadotropin releasing hormone, dopamine or prolactin inhibiting factor. And functions are as stated sa table. So please make some time to memorize these hormones and their functions because these are pertinent as you advance to pharmacology. This table naman is derived from Marieb. The reason I included the slide before or the table before this slide is hindi na pakita dito ang hormones produced by the hypothalamus. Pero aside from from the releasing hormones, the hypothalamus also produces the oxytocin and antidiuretic hormone. It's just the pituitary gland that stores these two hormones and release them when needed or when stimulated. So for the pituitary glands, the hormones that they release are oxytocin and antidiuretic hormone or ADH. Anterior lobe, you have the six anterior lobe hormones: growth hormone, prolactin, FSH, LH, TSH, and the adrenocorticotropic hormone. Pineal gland naman produces the melatonin. Thyroid gland produces T4 and calcitonin. T3 is converted from T4. So the primary thyroid hormone produced by the thyroid gland is your thyroxine or T4. The parathyroid glands produces your PTH or your parathyroid hormone. Thymus produces your thymosin. Then the adrenal glands have the adrenal medulla and the adrenal cortex, in which the adrenal medulla produces epinephrine and norepinephrine. Then the adrenal cortex have three sublayers that produces the respective hormones. Glucocorticoids produced from zona glomerulosa. The mineralocorticoids produced from zona um, fasciculata and the androgens produced from the zona uh, reticularis. So the primary or the most important example of glucocorticoids is your cortisol. For mineralocorticoids, you have the aldosterone. Of the pancreas, you have the insulin and glucagon. Then the gonads, you have the sex hormones. For testes, you have the androgens. Ovaries, you have estrogen and progesterone. This diagram shows you the additional na to, the effect of the releasing hormones produced by the hypothalamus. So the thyrotropin releasing hormone stimulates TSH production. The prolactin releasing factor and the prolactin release inhibiting hormone have influence on the hormone prolactin, with the former stimulating and the latter inhibiting. The corticotropin releasing hormone stimulates ACTH or adrenocorticotropic hormone. The gonadotropin releasing hormone stimulates LH and FSH. The growth hormone releasing hormone or GHRH and the Somatostatin influences growth hormone production. The other organs that are generally non-endocrine in function also secrete hormones, such as the stomach, small intestine, kidneys, and the heart. Another is the placenta, which produces the hormone human chorionic gonadotropin or HCG. The placenta is an organ that is developed during pregnancy or gestation. The placenta is the organ to which the cord of the fetus is attached to, to be supplied with oxygen. So yung sa placenta, siya yung organ na nagbibigay ng oxygen sa fetus. Once the baby is delivered, the placenta is also delivered after a short while. So the placenta is an organ that is only present during pregnancy. And this, and with the placenta producing the HCG is a good indicator na the patient is pregnant. So the mechanism behind the pregnancy test or the urine pregnancy test is the with the instrument detecting the HCG levels in the urine. So yung detect sa urine is this hormone, the HCG or the human chorionic gonadotropin. Another hormone produced by placenta is the human placental lactogen, which prepares the breast for lactation, and the hormone relaxin, which relaxes the pelvic ligaments and pubic symphysis for childbirth. This table summarizes the other hormones produced um, by other by organs other than the major endocrine organs. So the hormone prostaglandin is derived from the plasma membrane of virtually all cells. The hormone gastrin is produced by the stomach. We discussed this already in the digestive system. You have the intestinal gastrin produced by the duodenum, secretin by the duodenum, cholecystokinin by duodenum, erythropoietin, another important hormone produced by the kidney that stimulates the production of red blood cell in the bone marrow. Active vitamin D3 produced by the kidney, ANP produced by the heart, leptin produced by adipose tissue that suppresses the appetite and increases the energy expenditure. Whereas the hormone resistin is also produced by adipose tissue that antagonizes the insulin's action in or on liver cells. Now for the homeostatic imbalances, we have the following disorders the that describes that describes the condition wherein there is a hyper or hyposecretion of the following hormones. Diabetes insipidus is the disorder resulted from the hyposecretion of the hormone antidiuretic hormone. Pituitary dwarfism and gigantism are disorders of growth hormone production, wherein in pituitary dwarfism, you have the hyposecretion of growth hormone during childhood, resulting to the petite stature of the patient. Then you have gigantism, which is a result of hypersecretion of the growth hormone during childhood, resulting to the tall stature of the patient. Acromegaly is a result of hypersecretion of growth hormone during adulthood, wherein the phalanges usually and of the hands and feet are longer than usual because the epiphyseal plate of the long bones, for example in the humerus and the femur, are already or stop growing during adulthood. So Pag hypersecretion of growth hormone during adulthood, it's now the phalanges that becomes longer. Cretinism and myxedema is a condition of thyroid hormone production. Wherein cretinism there is a result of hyposecretion of thyroid hormones during childhood, and myxedema is a result of hyposecretion of thyroid hormones during adulthood. Hyperthyroidism, Graves' disease, and goiter are all associated with the thyroid hormones, and these are usually mistakenly um, um, misinterchanged. Hyperthyroidism pertains to the overactive thyroid, wherein there is a high level of thyroid hormone in the blood over the um, normal range. In Graves' disease, this is an autoimmune disorder wherein the immune system attacks the TSH receptors or the thyroid stimulating hormone receptors. With the decrease of so kung konti lang yung receptors that are being stimulated in the thyroid, ang gagawin ng thyroid is mag-overwork siya by producing a lot more thyroid hormones. This results to hyperthyroidism or an increased level of TH or thyroid hormone. Goiter is a result of Graves' disease wherein there is already an abnormal enlargement of the thyroid gland. Okay, so doesn't mean na you have goiter, you also have Graves' disease. Because other reasons or other causes of goiter may include iodine insufficiency or iodine deficiency, kulang ng iodine, which is required for the production of thyroid hormone. With the deficiency of iodine, si thyroid again, nag-overwork siya to produce a lot more thyroid hormones. Next, Addison's disease and Cushing syndrome is associated with the um, adrenal cortex. Addison's disease is the result of generalized hyposecretion of the adrenal cortex, particularly of the hormones cortisol and aldosterone. Cushing's syndrome is a disorder resulting from prolonged exposure to cortisol. Diabetes mellitus is a very important disorder of the endocrine because the Philippine population or the Filipinos have a high prevalence rate of diabetes mellitus. So diabetes mellitus or DM is a group of metabolic disorders of carbohydrate metabolism wherein glucose is both underutilized as an energy source and overproduced due to inappropriate gluconeogenesis and glycogenolysis, resulting to hyperglycemia. In other words, the glucose in the blood is underutilized or overproduced. Hence, there you have a high blood sugar level. So you have five types of diabetes mellitus. According to guidance, we still have four types of diabetes mellitus, but recently, international associations consider a fifth type of DM. So let's start with type 1. In type 1 diabetes mellitus, this is an autoimmune disorder, meaning the immune system attacks particularly the beta cell of the pancreas, resulting to the decreased production or um, total loss of production of insulin. So kung masira ang beta cells, walang napoproduce ng insulin. So apparently, the management for these patients is to give insulin. In type 2 diabetes mellitus or type 2 diabetes, this is not a result of autoimmune disorder, but of insulin resistance. This is usually because of a chronic exposure to high glucose levels So for example of that is people who keep on eating sugary foods or a diet high in carbohydrates such as rice, and people who are obese. Kasi these people always have a high blood sugar level. Because of this prolonged exposure to high glucose levels, there is a resulting insulin resistance na or kumbaga hindi na gumagana yung insulin sa receptors. Or hindi na nagre-respond ang receptors sa insulin. And with this, ineffective na yung insulin. The next type is the specific types of diabetes due to other causes. So in this group of disorders, this is secondary or because, or this is a result of another disorder. Next type, you have gestational diabetes mellitus or GDM. Gester or gestation, as mentioned a while ago, is pregnancy. So this is diabetes mellitus that occurred during pregnancy and have not occurred before pregnancy. Type 5 diabetes mellitus or T5DM is also called as malnutrition-related diabetes mellitus or MRDM. This is due to the prolonged undernutrition, particularly during early childhood and adolescence, that can impair the development of the pancreas. As mentioned, there are 5 types of diabetes mellitus, but the most common types are types 1 and 2, with the type 2 dominating uh, with the most dominant prevalence. Si type 2, so let's compare type 1 and type 2. As for the onset, meaning kailan lumalabas yung type 1 or type 2, type 1 diabetes mellitus has high prevalence in younger patients. That is why um, the old name for type 1 diabetes mellitus is juvenile DM kasi madami sa patients are bata pa. However, the other name, which is diabetes mellitus, is no longer used because even adults as old as 30 years old may also develop or may or still has the possibility of developing new onset type 1 diabetes mellitus. On the other hand, type 2 diabetes mellitus, this is of this is often because of poor diet or unhealthy lifestyle. Because of this, patients are when the type 2 develops, it's usually adults that are being affected. So, in type 2 diabetes mellitus, usually ang nagkakaroon is the adults. Clinical picture, ano yung usually appearance of patients with type 1 and type 2 diabetes mellitus. In type 1 diabetes mellitus, these are again usually younger patients who are very thin or have weight loss, and the they may experience polyuria and polydipsia. Polyuria, frequently urinating; polydipsia, frequently um, thirsty. In type 2 diabetes mellitus, it's because the patients have unhealthy lifestyle and poor diet. Usually, ang clinical picture is those that are overweight or obese. Or and also, type 2 diabetes mellitus has a strong correlation to family history. So, there is also a strong family history sa type 2 diabetes mellitus. Ketosis. This is an emergency condition that results to a very high level of blood sugar level, resulting to the production of ketone bodies. This is this commonly occurs in more on type 1 diabetes mellitus. And this is a deadly na condition, ang ketoacidosis. C-peptide is produced in um, type 2 diabetes mellitus because the patient still produces insulin, whereas it is absent in type 1 diabetes mellitus because of the um, absence of insulin. Antibodies. Since type 1 diabetes mellitus is an autoimmune disorder, the antibodies ICA, anti-GAD, and ICA 512 are positive and negative in type 2 diabetes mellitus. Therapy, because the problem with type 1 diabetes mellitus is you have beta cells being destroyed, the hence the lack of insulin production. The therapy is insulin, or you give insulin. In type 2 diabetes mellitus, you have the first line of management for type 2 diabetes mellitus is change of lifestyle. Kasi, yun yung reason na nagka-type 2 diabetes mellitus ka. If type of, if after 1 month or after a few weeks, there is still no improvement in the hyperglycemia, pwede ka na mag-start with oral antidiabetic agents your your oral hypoglycemic agents or OHA. Then, if kulang naman yung drugs mo, you can, or your oral medications, you can now then give insulin. Now, to summarize this discussion, the endocrine system regulates body functions through hormones, maintaining homeostasis alongside the nervous system. The hormones are classified as amino acid-based and steroid hormones, acting via direct gene activation for the steroids and the amines, such as your thyroid hormones, and the second messenger systems for your peptide or protein hormones. The hormone release is controlled by negative feedback mechanisms through hormonal stimuli, humoral stimuli, or neural stimuli. Major endocrine glands include the pituitary, thyroid, parathyroid, adrenal glands, pancreas, pineal gland, and thymus, each producing specific hormones. These glands regulate key processes such as growth and development, metabolism and energy balance, stress response, calcium homeostasis. Then the hypothalamus pituitary axis serves as the central control of endocrine function. The endocrine imbalances disrupt homeostasis and may lead to disorders affecting metabolism, growth, and fluid or electrolyte balance. So that's it for this chapter. Thank you for your attention.